I'm not altering your way of life. I'm not confronting families. I believe in families. I believe that women want to succeed in the company of people they love.
Yes.
Not as islands. So I'm not driving a feminist message.
No.
I'm driving a message of potential that all of us will benefit from.
Yeah.
Stop copying it in the name of I'm above her. And then your boys they're underperforming. Because anybody trained to see himself as a leader
Who underperform
without earning it.
You underperform. Yes.
You can't even be resilient and you make poor decisions.
Yes.
So just because of you understand your maleness, automatically you're a leader. No. Leadership is the values, is that ability to envision, to see, influence. It's a learned thing, right? If you live naturally around leaders, you manifest it.
Yes, it's a trait that you just pick.
But it's not automatic. It's a learned behavior. You go down the spectrum,
the more
see frustrated. So we're not helping anybody. We're not helping this person that we put that title upon before you end it, and we're not helping this person who you now put in the
who's having to bear the brunt.
Children. So I think collectively as a society, the children come with this dysfunction, then multiplied behavior. Because what's culture? Just multiplied behavior. You just see behavior, just multiply. Next thing you see those neighborhoods. We can be better if we tweak the right things.
So it's still going back to that.
So this is why I go into some places and say, please judge by potential, invest on the basis of potential. And every child comes into this world with promise. Every child, I don't care. Every child comes into this place with promise. Even the neurodiverse, the ones with cognitive disabilities, find it. And this is why Africa, we must find a system that captures all our promise.
Yes.
Not waste it.
Capture
promise. So this is where policy comes in. And this is the issue with these leaders, no depth.
Oh, depth. I like that statement. It's capture.
The funny thing, all the questions that I had meant to ask her for this segment,
no need.
In just this her talk, she's addressed all of them. Like here, I said, okay, what role do parents unknowingly play? She said it already. I said, how can schools become safer and inclusive spaces for girls without overburdening teachers? Okay, maybe we've not.
Still discussing.
Yeah, we've not really looked at that. So that one, but all the other questions, she's knocked them off here and there. So it just tells you the kind of stuff she's made of, and I'm happy we're having this conversation with you. I'm still going to be picking your brains on so many other things outside of this, behind the camera. So please get ready for me, or get ready for us.
Happy to, because
okay, so how can schools become safer and more inclusive spaces for girls without overburdening the teachers? Which means we're not saying bringing new facilities or overstretching as it is right now, which tells me it's more of a consciousness thing, more of an intentional or an intentionality thing. So how can it be a safer space?
Well, I'll put it out there now that there's no way you're not going to burden the teachers. But when we say overburdening, it means let the burden be proportionate. Like let all of us, right? So that it's not as if one group in the whole spectrum is carrying the weight on others and others go to sleep. So let's come to school leadership. Now, in the context of Nigeria, because we've been discussing very strongly about public school education, school leadership doesn't start with the principal. School leadership begins with who is the real principal is the governor. Who then has a Ministry of Education, that he has, directorates.
The real principal is the governor.
Governor.
I like highlighting those things so that they will hear it well. The real principal is the governor. Okay.
Is the governor. Because of the way our education is organized in the Constitution. So he shares concurrent powers with the president in terms of funding it, right? If I'm funding something, I'm interested in the outcome.
Thank you.
I'm very interested in the outcome. And because that outcome serves all the other needs or all the other goals and visions that I've set, you say your 4-point agenda, agriculture is critical there, right? I would want to see TVET schools strong in Oyo State. If you told me agriculture, by now I would see the matching investment in TVET to support that agricultural end. But coming back to this question of inclusive schools, now as a governor, I'll go back and check the records. In Oyo State, what's our current population? I look at our past history. How many of our women, especially I will set a benchmark. We talked about competition informally earlier. I must be competing with somebody. It is always good to set a benchmark. Somebody that
you're looking at.
Yes, right? So who becomes my standard? A city in Guangzhou in China, or similar to you, or a Lagos nearby to you, somebody. I'm like, look. So let's look at the history. So these states, now you have two heads. When I look at your this sector, I can see 20 women leading in supply chain of this. There are 10 women in your executive room, in your board of company. Your state, okay, my target is this. So you begin to set targets on the basis of, and then your numbers are close to this same. So you're telling yourself, why is it that? It's the same way when we came home and your parents will ask you, why didn't you get A? Did you got A? Did they have two heads? This is the time to frame that statement in policy now. Introduce it. Why don't I have 50 women-led exporting companies in cocoa in Oyo State, GB agriculture? Why don't I have 50 women-led cashew business? Why don't I have 50 blah blah? Why don't I have 500 teachers in STEM, female teachers in STEM in Oyo State? Why don't I have? So you begin to set your target, and I'm the principal, right?
Yes.
So it's all because that's what I was talking about. He said
visionary leader,
and I'm the principal, and you all funding it every day. That's why people are abusing me in the newspaper, on radio, on this, on that. So I need to see that money work in a way that aligns with a vision that is measurable and actually competitive, right? And coming from my potential, my actual potential, I don't see those things. So then you now look at the schools. This type of school cannot produce this type of woman who is leading. At best, in fact, I'm producing a clerical staff who will be able to do messenger work with this type of school. So no, I must overhaul. Then this one, I want to see how many that I heard somebody's report. I heard from the evidence that they drop out of science in GSS. That girls said to I don't want that to Oyo State anymore. What's contributing to that? We have all the teachers in Oyo State. You must go and train in gender responsive classroom practices. All of you, I want to understand, because there's something you are saying that is making these girls
just run away from science and go somewhere else.
Then I will check that curriculum. Is it that every time you were talking about the inventor, did you say he program? And this part of the problem, overhaul the language there so that they will easily listen. I want 500 women teachers teaching this physics, this da. So you begin to see certain clear strategic efforts that match.
Principal is listening.
But that's only if I'm the principal. Then I begin to have meetings with PTAs. I begin to call all the PTAs and all the PTA parents, teachers, and all the people. I want to have a general Oyo State led PTA. This target, I don't want to hear that results came out like this. Okay, what's the problem? And they will talk, you stop paying school fees is high, there are illegal charges, school management board is imposing. Okay. So it's not just about LAUTECH and some, do you understand? There's a bigger conversation linked to the vision. Okay, LAUTECH, I'm going to be supporting you after the whole crisis.
In Broglio with Oyo State and Osun State.
There's an end. I want something as an end. The problem is a lot of things, do you understand, are left at the conversation. We don't get to the conversation. What's the end outcome I want to see? It's not that I just give you good salaries and then now you are not celebrating me and saying I provide pensions.
There's a reason for that salary.
There's a reason. I want to see. This is what I want to see, and I'm going to come back because this is my milestone. And if I don't see it, what is the problem? You have a problem with me. You have a problem with me. You are going to have a problem with me. So that's a principle, right? Who is accountable? But this all comes down from an accountability thing, because if I was also accountable to. If it was accountable to me, I'll be calling the governor and I say, Oga, it's been 4 years and +1. STEM results, females are still. Look at Zamfara beat us in girls in STEM. It's a shame now. This is where, no, I'm just giving examples hypothetically of what I will be saying. That governor, do something about it. You're the number one principal in Oyo State. And it's not just about WAEC results, JAMB results. Can we disaggregate these results by gender?
And distill it.
Down to
distill it.
If we say STEM is the backbone of any real economy. Yes. It's STEM. So how well are your girls positioned to participate in STEM-driven economies in 10 years' time? Will it be linked to your administration now? We'll be able to say by reason of certain measures introduced in the golden age of man, till today, some of the gains, now that we're even, some of the gains that are even being eroded, are gains attributed to Angolo's time. You may not see it in your time. It's going to gestate. There's a period for gestation. But we will link it to the justice you introduced. Yes. I don't see those things. So inclusive, let's get down to since we want to speak policy language, right? Number one, you have to change your teacher training practices. They have to be gender responsive. And Oyo State, when I interact with all of them, there's a gender blindness. that when I see them in the ministry, they're like, no, we don't have that problem they have in the north. No, here everybody believes in education. That's a blindness, because then you don't see, when you study, you don't see what peculiar
all the subtleties that are there, right there.
You don't see, and then therefore your policy cannot address it. You don't see what the threats are to this block. You don't see what the threats are. What do you understand? What the advantages are here? What you don't see, so you can't plan from that sense, right? So these are the issues, right from even the people supervising education planners. Our education planners need to, and then you must be very participatory. Hear from girls. I can't go. I'll record school absence every time I'm having my period. If I go to a school that there's no toilet, or the only toilet is teachers lock it,
I can't use it.
Yes, it's very important. And
how do I change?
You go down the street, how many toilets? No, let's call it space. Which toilets are there?
Thank you.
Just that alone guarantees that
go to school when
absence is going to be a norm. And that school absence affects learning outcomes, whether you like it or not.
I was part of a give back program. I just shared with you. Some years back, and it was just one young lady, single lady, not even married, who just felt, look, whatever I can do in my part, and then she reached out to people, and they gave, and school after school after school, she just moved around, trying to give them basic amenities. The first one we did, because I was part of that team, the first one we did, we gave them water. There was a well there before that had some just dried or something, and then they had one tank. I think we had to get a new tank or something, and then the toilets there was nothing to just, I mean, and then we came in there and we did all we did. Less than $1 million. Did everything there. The day they turned the tap and water came out. You would have thought something else happened. I was crying that day. It's making me want to tear up again, because I just couldn't imagine that water will make a whole school. They were jumping, running around, leaping for joy. You should see genuine joy on the face of those children from water. But what did that water mean to them? They were not going to be fetching water from one far place. The teachers will send them. They'll go and, and all of that. So with just that singular act by one girl,
you've taken off a burden.
They were liberated from that, so they could focus more on school. Their toilets were now working because that water was there, and then they had an overhead tank. I mean, just that, and we didn't spend up to ₦1 million. And then the politician in that area, I told you about. I've shared this story with her.
Nothing I was going to say.
The guy came and serious gum body, huffing and puffing when he saw that we're not going to budge. And we had media with us. He now tried to make some kind of compromise, and then he got his own camera people. They were taking pictures, as if he was the one who. I said, mark it. This man is going to go back and still claim that he did it, and he spent millions of naira to achieve that thing. But this is what one person. So at times, it's just that willpower. That's visionary leadership, like you've been saying, that look, this thing can be better, this thing should not be like this. One girl, she's not a millionaire or anything. She works in an organization. She's earning a salary. It's not as if she's one philanthropist or anything. Young girl.
I said the young people are very powerful critical agents for change in this dispensation. So they are running a lot of community-based projects and initiatives. Some are working and doing this as their own form of CSR. Some are setting up NGOs and entities that are doing this on a day-to-day basis. Different people, and a lot of philanthropists. Some connect to these kinds of initiatives and support. But when you want to do something at scale, it comes back to school leadership on a daily basis. And that's why I said school leadership, going beyond the principal who is there, who is almost like, the figurehead. They're very disempowered, let me just put it that way, for various reasons, lack of funding, but, very many reasons. So I'll bring school leadership squarely to the desk of the sitting government. And then let's say, what are the interventions? I do believe that now that we're seeing the crisis in education, we're at the point where we need a crisis fund. a crisis emergency fund where people can key into a vision document for the resuscitation of Oyo State education, whether it's secondary, whatever you define for it, and then you pull resources. There are a lot of people in diaspora who will contribute if they see visionary leaders. The same way there was the time they were setting up one some health fund, and we've not seen the outcome. Look at Oyo, but let me stick to education, right? Let's be clear. So people will plug into a crisis fund because when there's a fire, everybody knows what they are doing to put out the neighbor's fire. And even normal activities are suspended. We are dealing with a crisis. Your children cannot compete. Yeah, that's just the reality. And they can't even sustain the economy you're going to hand over to them. Not to talk about advancing that economy. It is a crisis. So is it your problem? Do you see it as your problem? As a leader, do you go to bed at night? Are you able to sleep peacefully? Or do you see it as something that has it stolen sleep from you? I think they're sleeping too much. I think that a lot of people who should have lost sleep are still sleeping. Because the burden of leadership, I don't see it translating. You don't see the pressure. I don't see the pressure. I see the pressure when it's time for election. Then you see them.
Yes.
I don't see the pressure in day-to-day governance. Mm-hmm. But school leadership will be a critical entity for solving this problem. Not traditional school leadership that just says, okay, train here, improve infrastructure. Water is very defining. Water and sanitation are very defining in schools. But the problem is beyond. Schools that don't even have, updated like furniture, seating, what do you call it, conducive environments. Girls will leave. It's gender-based violence there. If every small time there's bullying, when she's changing puberty, her body is changing, then somebody begins to toast her. When there's no guidance counselor who can deal with problems she's bringing from home, because these people, they are coming from home with baggage, right? And that baggage affects them when they are learning. Somebody must be sitting down with social-emotional based learning. It's like children coming from war every day. And when you came home, they batter, they put. That's where they're coming from. So social-emotional based learning has to be a critical focal points in school. Is it embedded? We're just going through the moves. A very poor factory. So these are some of the things, but it's not. So one small thing can solve. It boils down to what do you want to see, Mr. Shemakile? How many girls? Do you even know how many girls you have currently in school? Does he even know how many girls he has in schools? Does he even know how many boys he has in schools? I remember when COVID came, I wanted to know how many who came back. They couldn't even give us the figures. They couldn't even give us disaggregated by sex. Like who came back? By community. He needs to have that situation room. He needs to have a real situation room before me. This one is by education. How many of my boys and girls are even in school? What's the problem here? I hear they are exams. What they are even kind of unexpected
unscheduled visit.
Yes. The way those military governors we used to hear. Yeah, that's what was. Oh Lord! We need to come back to some of those elements. And I know it's difficult. It's easy for us to say because it's a man burdened with so many. But do you lose sleep? You can't afford to be sleeping with this kind of thing. We should see your grey hair by now. Your hair should be grey. When President Obama, you can compare to 4 years ago, your hair should be grey. If really you want to govern, in fact, I don't know why they are running to govern. Because I will run away. Because the problem is too much. Unless you didn't plan to shoulder the full problems. So this is it now. This is the weight of it. So it can't be easy, and I know it. So when we say it's a lot, it's easy for you to say. Yes, I know it's easy for me to say. That's why I didn't go there. Exactly. I mean, it's easy to talk, but you're supposed to do. So I must see the signs. You're supposed to be grey-haired by now. Do you understand? We should now be dealing with healthcare experts to help keep your health sound, so that they will help you manage the anxiety. Because we should be stressing you. We're supposed to be stressing you. Then these aides around you, we're not ready now. When you think about even the way the people who are their special advisors, can they tell me how many boys and girls are dropped out? They can't tell you those figures. So we're not ready. So when you talk about inclusive, nobody's going to. I'll just talk textbook. If I have a household, I know my household. Yes. I govern my household. Yes. If my household is large, 4 polygamous or 50 polygamous, I still must go. I might not still the father of the household. Yeah. Unless I say, kill me today. You're still the father of the household. You must know what wife A. You even if you want to abuse all her children, it's because you shall be. I invested in all of you equally, and this you are all rejects. But they can't point it and say that anybody didn't invest in me. Do you understand? You must have a sense of all of us, a situation room that tells you all of us, plus the ones that are delinquent, rebellious juveniles. Then you must not even tell those juvenile system that's fine, they were not you, but the end product, I want to reform them. I want you to reform them. I'm not condemning that. They're still.
I won't let them go.
I want you to reform them. So you must even know your judiciary. You must know everything that entails this promise. See, when you want to capture promise, that's just it. So if a girl is equally seen as promising, there will be certain things. The man will not sleep. You say, okay, today my headache, this month or January is the month dedicated to education. I'm ready for all of you. I want to deal decisively with this conversation. There's the politics of education, and there's a real governance of education. You have to balance the two. The politics of it is giving contracts to who wants to build school and build this, give satisfy with them, right? But then there's the real governance. I want the outcome. I want Oyo State in the next 10 years. I want us to be the ones producing anything related to data science or anything related to this. I want it to be that anything agricultural value chain. They must come to Oyo State to come and get that. You can't go into any state and find it. It's here that you get that talent. Let us be reputable for something. Pick that thing and then begin to shape your educational system. Be sacking. You understand? So put them on that pressure, transfer the pressure. If you are sleeping, it's because somebody else is carrying that pressure. In between twin somebody is bearing that pressure. But not just this money grabbing, this empty, then you build a road. That road is supposed to connect school, village, hospital, this, that. So that's
to the farming areas.
You want to now say, okay, and so this school, how did you, so my road is going to waste. And my road cannot waste now. I want to see 50, this, that. So now that I put the school, why can't the teacher, the woman in the city, go to be a rural teacher? And she have given you road. And so I want 50 more women.
You like 50 and 500.
It just sounds nice.
You seem to like 50 and 500.
So I put a road. Okay, I'll give you quarters. I'll put a quarters in this local government, and we must revive local government. Must revive local government. Not this caretaker committee thing that they're doing, that they're choosing personnel and getting the money. This kind of thing to cast.